Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh, today we're beginning the speaking about Lord Ramchandra and his pastimes. So I'll begin that today by reading from second chapter, second canto, 7th chapter, text number 23. Asmad prasada sumukha kalaya kalesha Ikshvaku vamsha apatirya guru nideshe Chishtan vanam sadhaitanuja abhivesha Yasmin virudya dashakandara artim achat Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya kalesha Ikshvaku vamsha avatirya guru nideshe Ikshvaku vamsha avatirna gunam Tishtan vanam sadaitanuja abhivesha Yasmin virudya dasakandara artim achat Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya kalesha Prasada sumukha kalaya kalesha Ikshvaku vamsha vatirna guru nideshe Jistan vanam sadaitanuja vishesha Yasmin virudya dasakandara artimachat Vaishnavi. Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya nakalesha Ikshvaku vamsha bhavatirya guru nideshe Nistan vanam sadaitanuja vishesha Nidya dasakandara timachat Asmat, unto us, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant. Prasada, causeless mercy. Sumukha, so inclined. Kalaya, with his plenary expansions. Kalesha, the Lord of all potencies. Ikshvaku, Maharaj Ikshvaku, in the dynasty of the sun. Vamshe, family, Abatirya, by descending in. Guru, of the father or spiritual master. Nideshe, under the order of. Tishtan, being situated in. Vanam, in the forest. Sadaita Anuja, along with his wife and younger brother. Abhishesha, entered. Yasmin, unto whom? Virudya, being rebellious. Kandara, Ravana, who had 10 heads. Artim, great distress. Archat, achieved. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Due to His causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with His plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the Lord of His internal potency. Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharat, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful, with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished. We can all repeat together. Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the Lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharat, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful, with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him, and thus was ultimately vanquished. Purport. Lord Rama is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his brothers, namely Bharata, Lakshman, and Shatrughna, are his plenary expansions. All 4 brothers are Vishnu Tattva and were never ordinary human beings. There are many unscrupulous and ignorant commentators on Ramayana who present the younger brothers of Lord Ramchandra as ordinary living entities. But here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the most authentic scripture on the science of Godhead, it is clearly stated that his brothers were his plenary expansions. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vichaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Bahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Dashatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in this first part of the purport, it speaks about the Lord and His expansions. Ramhari Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtam. Srila Prabhupada, when he spoke on Ram Navami, he always quoted this verse. Kala Niyamene, that plenary expansions. So sometimes not only do people consider His expansions to be ordinary, but they consider Him to be ordinary. And this is a great offense. Because Lord Ramachandra, he was petitioned by the demigods that they appeared. Sometimes if a yajna is very powerful, then the demigods will appear to receive their portion. And in this particular case, not only did they appear, but they petitioned that, my dear Lord, you must appear as an ordinary, like an ordinary person, because Ravana has taken a vow and some protection that he cannot be killed by demons, rakshasas, and this and that. But he left out one category, human beings, because he considered them to be so insignificant. As they say, the pride before the fall. When one is proud, then he guarantees that there will be difficulty. Just like it says here, that Dasakandara artim archat. He achieved great distress by his pride. Being such a proud and foolish person. Of course, he's actually a great personality, but he's a devotee. But he's not remembering his devotee identity. So sometimes there's some Sri Vaishnavas that they say that Shatrughna is the Sudarshan disc. But they attribute that everything is in a personal expansion. There is no ordinary human being. But here Srila Prabhupada, and also when Srila Prabhupada spoke on Lord Ramachandra's pastimes, he emphasized that they are all Vishnu Murti. They are all Vishnu Tattva. So this is a very important understanding. And even Lord Ramachandra himself, he had a particular mission. And that particular mission is to establish certain standards of morality, although that was not his main purpose, which we will get into a little later in this reading this purport. So Srila Prabhupada continues. But there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the most authentic scripture on the science of Godhead, it is clearly stated that his brothers were plenary expansions. Originally, Lord Ramachandra is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Lakshman is the incarnation of Sankarshan. Bharat is the incarnation of Pradyumna, and Shatrughna is the incarnation of Aniruddha, expansions of the personality of Godhead. Lakshmi Ji, Sita, is the internal potency of the Lord, and is neither an ordinary woman nor the external potency incarnation of Durga. Durga is the external potency of the Lord, and she is associated with Lord Shiva. So here, Srila Prabhupada establishes proper understanding of Tattva, both Vishnu Tattva and Shakti Tattva, that we cannot, nowadays, impersonalists, Mayavadis, they mix everything up. Everything is one. Everything is one for us, and everything is one. Of course, Srila Prabhupada said, if everything is one, why do they go to the dentist? No. Everything is one. Otherwise, why do they, everything is one, there's no problem. Everything is one. Of course, a Mahabhagavat devotee, sometimes, in one sense, they see that everything is perfect, but not that everything is one. But everything is perfect. In that sense, there is a certain oneness. This is also spoken by Krishna in Bhagavad-gita, that mode of goodness means to see the one factor, but that one factor is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, now this, if we look at the verse itself, Asmat Prasad Sumukha, the Lord Himself in His original form of Lord Ramachandra is Asmat Prasada Sumukha, which means that He gives mercy to everyone equally. He is equally disposed to every living entity. And Prasada Sumukha, this gives Him the greatest pleasure. This is His greatest pleasure. So Sumukha. That not that, I have to do this. Sometimes we think like that, that this is some imposed duty. We have many impositions. We must do this, we must by the modes of nature. The Lord, He also has impositions, but they are imposed by His own Chit Shakti. He designs His Chit Shakti to enhance His pastimes. And especially in this particular pastime, which going on further in this particular chapter, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes that it appears, Prabhupada says, it appears that Lord Ramachandra is a henpecked husband. No. Otherwise, his wife, but he's not a henpecked husband. Although, when Sita was requested, as it says here in the verse, Sita was requested, she requested to go with him in exile. Of course, that whole exile pastime is so wonderful, because when Dasharat, first of all, he condemns Kekeyi. He said, I thought you were my wife, now I can see you were my enemy. No, you are my worst enemy, because you want to separate me from Ramachandra. There can be nothing greater, just like in Krishna's pastime, he was challenged by Indra and by Brahma. But actually he preferred Indra's challenge to, even though it was much more severe, even threatening to kill the cows in Vrindavan, that's pretty severe. But he preferred it in the sense that by this pastime all the devotees were brought together. He was brought together with his devotees. In the case, Brahma wanted to separate him. And therefore, even though Brahma offered wonderful prayers, he had to come in the form of Haridas Thakur to get the full mercy of the Lord. Because he separated the Lord from his devotees. So this is a very serious offense. And then, after Dasharatha pleaded and pleaded, and KK insulted him, and just stood, he begged for mercy. He fell at her feet and begged for mercy, and not only that, he complimented her. You are my favorite wife. You are my favorite. No, there's no doubt. You are my favorite. How can you do this to me? She was cold as ice. She was bewildered. That bewilderment is also a great lesson for us. That even though one may be an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if one is not careful, it's just like Kala Krishna Das, an associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he was bewildered. And so KK, the wife of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was bewildered. This is to show us how strong, how powerful the illusory energy is. And so, anyway, so I can't go into that whole, but then Lakshman said, let us kill this foolish father. Otherwise, the love for Ramchandra shows the power of the love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So powerful that Lakshman was ready to kill his father. He thought, our father has become a fool, a slave to a plaything in the hands of his foolish wife, and he has also become foolish. But then Ramchandra showed the quality of a devotee. Even though someone may act foolishly, a devotee is very tolerant, and a devotee is very merciful. Srila Prabhupada, in one lecture, he said, lamentation is the duty of a Shudra, and the duty of a Brahmin is to be tolerant. So, Prabhupada was saying, we as devotees, we have to learn to be tolerant. But not, of course, not overly tolerant, not foolishly tolerant. We cannot tolerate anything that in any way goes against the desire of the Lord and his devotee, his pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada and all of our parampara. We cannot go against. One cannot, even if one's spiritual master may be madhyam, maybe in the madhyam category, still one must obey the spiritual master and consider the orders of the spiritual master as the life and soul. Because this is, many of our spiritual masters, they may be on the platform of sadhana bhakti, either by, because who can judge with someone's heart? But one can judge by observing someone. But in any case, however they may be situated, if one accepts someone as the spiritual master, one must obey. This is the instruction. Srila Prabhupada made this emphasis on 241 of Bhagavad-gita, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, which is a very powerful commentary. He says, even if I go to hell, I will still obey my spiritual master faithfully. And even if obeying him means I go to hell, I will still obey him. This is how powerful the spiritual master is. Such a essential element in spiritual life. So, in any case, we understand that Sita Devi is not the potency of the external potency related to Lord Shiva. So continuing in Srila Prabhupada's purport, and I chose this little bit long purport because I wanted Srila Prabhupada to give this introduction. to this series of classes which will be happening now until Ram Navami. As stated in Bhagavad-gita 4:7, the Lord appears when there are discrepancies in the discharge of factual religion. Lord Ramchandra also appeared under the same circumstances, accompanied by his brothers, who are expansions of the Lord's internal potency, and by Lakshmiji Sita Devi. Now in the verse, in the verse itself, it indicates this. Otherwise, that he was accompanied by Sa Daita Anuja Avivesha. Sa Daita. And this indicates how dear the Lord's potency is. And therefore, when later on, when Srila Prabhupada says that it appears like a hand-picked husband, no, but this is the internal potency. The Lord is eternally related to his internal potency. He cannot be separated. And of course, I'll speak a little bit about that later in the purport. But so, yada yada hi dharmasya glandir bhavati bharata, that abhutanam dharmasya, that this is the Lord's external reason for appearing. And even though Lord Ramchandra appeared as apparently as a normal human being, just like many people interpret the Lord Ramchandra's appearance as good versus evil. But this is not the Lord's appearance. He may, because and there's like 5 verses in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam that say there is no good and evil. There's only good. This is the vision of Mahabhagavat. There's only good. No. Good means the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which manifests through his internal potency by engaging those who are willing and desirous in bhakti. And his external potency engages everyone perfectly according to their desire. No. And this is such an important point which is emphasized in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially by Lord Brahma. No, that tatenu kampam susamikshimana bunjana evatmakritam vipakam atmakrita. No. There's nothing that's happening to you that is not atmakrita. It is all created by you. So don't blame anyone else. No. Now a Kshatriya there's a different, a Brahmin thinks like that. A Kshatriya cannot think like that. A Kshatriya must establish external justice. No. So those who are acting in a managerial capacity, they must establish external justice. It has to be done. No. Sometimes you have to chastise. The father chastises, the mother chastises. That does not diminish the quality of their love for the child. It increases, it indicates the love for the child. That the child, so also a manager, sometimes must chastise, because that indicates their concern that everyone is properly following the path of Krishna consciousness. This is a very important thing to understand. We should not think that the duty of our superiors, of course the first duty is, as in this verse, prasada samukha, that one should be very concerned that everyone gets the Lord's mercy. But if someone does not understand how that mercy is descending, then sometimes it requires some adjustment. So anyway, this is the Lord's external mission. He comes for the same thing. No. It's not that Krishna comes and just plays the flute. No. He does that. He indicates, this is my internal reason for coming. I want to demonstrate my pastimes in Vrindavan. When he was in Dwarka before appearing, he was thinking, so many people are worshiping me with awe and reverence throughout the different yugas. Now let me appear and show my Vrindavan pastimes so that people can understand, those who are qualified, or those who actually want to understand this aspect, this supreme aspect, this Goloka Vrindavan aspect of my existence, not my Vaikuntha aspect. When Srila Prabhupada was speaking on Ram Navami here in this very temple, well, the temple wasn't finished at that time, in this very place, this very city, he said that that this Ramachandra's appearance is very special. And then, but he said, of course we understand, as Brahma Samhita also says, that Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pumam Yo, that even though Nanavataram, Akarod Bhuvanesha Tishtan, even though the Lord has so many different incarnations, Krishna is still Etichamsa Pumsam. Krishna is too Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That cannot be in any way changed. But Srila Prabhupada emphasized, by the nature of rasa, some people will be attracted to Krishna's pastimes, some people will be attracted to Lord Ramachandra's pastimes. Just like Sri Vallabha, Anupama, that Rupa Goswami's younger brother, he was attracted to Lord Ramachandra. And there was one point where Rupa and Sanatan, they were trying to convince him, here is Lord Chaitanya. He is beyond Ramachandra. And Srila Prabhupada spoke this also here in Mumbai. He said, actually Krishna is his manifestation, and Lord Rama, they are the same, just like different candles, as Lord Brahma makes this comparison, just like different candles. They all have the same potency, but not that potency is not always fully manifest. In Krishna, it is fully manifest. In Ramachandra, not all the aspects are fully manifest. Just like in Krishna's pastimes, he has loving exchanges with the gopis, with the queens of Vrindavan, even with the Aborigine women. He pleases them, even with Kubja. But his in Ramachandra, oh no, Ekapa, and one wife. So he limits that. It's limited for the sake of the living entity. It's limited so that we have the example. Who can follow Krishna's example? Some people try, but they can't go that far. And even if they have one wife, or even if they have many wives, there are many great kings, that had many, many wives, but they could not do what Krishna did. If they had many wives, just like Chitraketu, had many wives, only one son, and all the other wives became envious. Very, very difficult situation. But Krishna, even Narada Muni, he was wondering, how can Krishna have 16,108 wives? He was wondering. So he spied on Krishna, and he went to different palaces, and he saw Krishna was there in every palace at the same time. Who can do that? So, therefore, Srila Prabhupada said that if someone thinks they are God, of course, one proof is in the song we just sang, that Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadari. But Prabhupada said there's a simpler proof. If someone says they are God, you say, do you have a father? If he says yes, Prabhupada said, then you say you are a dog. Otherwise, you say you're God, but you have a father. Of course, Krishna has in Leela he has a father. But actually, in Tattva, who has no father, that is God. And Prabhupada said, so if someone claims he's God and he has a father, then you call him dog. No. That's strong language, but Prabhupada spoke strongly. When someone wanted to speak something that was not according to Shastra, Prabhupada was very strong. So, and Prabhupada speaking about this difference in Leela, and one thing Prabhupada said, very beautiful thing in relation to Lord Ramachandra. He said, either you see the deity, you hear about his pastimes, or you understand something about him. It means you are personally associating with him. Prabhupada said, therefore, this is why we are fasting on this day. Because it's such a privilege. We are getting personal association. He said, of course, any day you appear before the Lord in his deity form, any pastime you hear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are getting his association. But if you don't understand that you are getting that association, if you don't realize it, then you will not be included in the pastime. But if you understand that just by hearing about the Lord, you're being included in his pastimes, if you can understand that and relish it, it means you will fast. You may not fast from dal and rice and chapatis, but you will fast from anything that interferes with that connection. And you will fast, meaning you will engage in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Shmaranam. You will engage in devotional service. You will engage in hearing and chanting, because you cannot give up that connection. Because you have actually realized that this Chit Shakti is so powerful that it can include us. Even Srila Prabhupada, he translates one verse. He says, even if you actually chanting the holy name properly, even while eating and sleeping, you can be perfectly situated. That's how powerful the Lord's pastime. So anyway, I want to continue with Srila Prabhupada's purport. Lord Ramachandra was ordered by his father, Maharaj Dasharat, to leave home for the forest under awkward circumstances. Very interesting, awkward circumstances. And the Lord, as an ideal son of his father, carried out the order. Even on the occasion of his being declared the king of Ayodhya. Who would give up such a thing? No. We make so much sacrifice, and sometimes, not us, not those in this room, hopefully, but ordinary people, if they can get some big position or some opulence, they'll do anything to anyone. This is something that devotees have to be very careful of, that we don't become enamored by some position or some opulence that we may receive in the Lord's service. We don't become bewildered. We don't become even attached to these things. Today, we may have some big title, and tomorrow I may be both internally and externally dasa anudasa. But it doesn't matter. The devotee is happy in any position. Srila Prabhupada wrote one letter. He said, a devotee requires two things: a little service and a little prasadam. He demands these two things. Otherwise, everything else, he will accept the Lord's mercy. Of course, if we get a position and we get some opulence, we have to use it properly. And that requires some shakti, some ability. One of his younger brothers, Lakshmanji, desired to go with him, and so also his eternal wife, Sita Ji, desired to go with him. The Lord agreed to both of them, and altogether they entered the Dandakaranya forest to live there for 14 years. Now, of course, Ramachandra did not even when Lakshman offered, he said, he hesitated. But Lakshman convinced him immediately. But when Sita offered, he said, no, you are a princess. How can you accept the hardships of the forest? And she said, you are my husband. How can you abandon me? No. So after some time, he accepted that she had a good argument. During their stay in the forest, there was some quarrel between Ramachandra and Ravana. How Prabhupada put this, some quarrel. Like we see quarrel like two devotees maybe arguing over some. And this is how, but it's very important how Prabhupada chooses this word. For us, it was a big battle. For Ramachandra, it was a little quarrel. Supreme Personality, he's engaged in enjoying the forest pastimes with Lakshman and Sita Devi. When they went into the forest, they were enamored by the forest life and thinking it's so beautiful here, so many wonderful plants and trees, so many beautiful things. We were living in the city surrounded by so many artificial creations, buildings and palaces and so much opulence. But actually what he himself was glorifying his own creation, which is greater than any creation in this world, of big buildings. People are so proud of their big buildings, big cities, and all those big buildings bring big problems. And so he was glorifying his own creation. Just like in the Gita Mahatmya, the Lord, in the beginning of the Gita Mahatmya, the Lord is relishing. He's looking and he's in a meditative state. And Lakshmi says, what's wrong, my Lord? Why are you so deeply enhanced? He said, I'm just seeing the wonder of my creation. And so Lord Ramachandra, he was seeing the marvel of his creation. The quarrel ended in vanquishing of the greatly powerful Ravana, along with all his kingdom and family. So this is important, kingdom and family. Just like when Nityananda Prabhu came to the house of Ramachandra Khan. And so Ramachandra Khan didn't even personally go to meet him. He sent his servant to tell him, my dear sir, this is a very sacred place. Maybe you should take all of your, basically indicating low caste associates and go to some big barn, some big goshala, where there's more room for all these people. And then after Lord Nityananda got up, they dug up the dirt where he was sitting, which was actually consecrated, and threw it away. And then Lord Nityananda said, yes, you are right. This is not a suitable place. This is a suitable place for cow killers. And later, the Muslim tax collector came and killed a cow right in that same place. And then Srila Prabhupada comments that not only did Ramachandra Khan suffer, but all of his family and the whole village suffered. So Prabhupada comments that one should be very careful not to perform activities adverse to the Supreme Personality of God, because not only one will suffer, but others will suffer also. Anyone related to you who condones and accepts these improper activities. Sita is Lakshmi Ji, or the goddess of fortune, but she is never to be enjoyed by any living being. She is meant for being worshipped by the living being along with her husband, Sri Ramachandra. A materialistic man like Ravana does not understand this great truth. But on the contrary, he wants to snatch Sita Devi from the custody of Rama, and thus incurs in great miseries. The materialists who are after opulence and material prosperity may take lessons from the Ramayana, that the policy of exploiting the nature of the Lord without acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord is the policy of Ravana. Ravana was very advanced materially, so much so that he turned his kingdom, Lanka, into pure gold or full material wealth. But because he did not recognize the supremacy of Lord Ramachandra and defied him by stealing his wife Sita, Ravana was killed and all his opulence and power were destroyed. Lord Ramachandra is a full incarnation with 6 opulences in full, and he is therefore mentioned in this verse as Kalisha, or master of all opulence. So this, I will conclude with this. This particular aspect was further emphasized in Lord Chaitanya's pastime. When Lord Chaitanya was on his South India tour, he met one Brahmin, Ramadas Vipra, and so Ramadas Vipra invited him for lunch. So Lord Chaitanya showed up at noontime, and Ramachandra, there was nothing cooked. And he said, "My dear sir, I see there is nothing cooked. What is your plan?" No, it is noontime. And he said, "Oh, but Lakshman and Sita are gathering vegetables in the forest." And so Lord Chaitanya was very pleased to see how deeply he was absorbed in the Leela of Ramachandra. And he just smiled. And then he came out of his ecstasy and he realized, quickly cooked something, and 3 hours later, that Lord was served. But then he wouldn't eat, he was fasting. This Ramadas Vipra was fasting. So then Lord Chaitanya said, "Why are you fasting?" He said, how can I eat anything when Sita Devi was touched by this demon Ravana? How can I eat anything? How can I? No. And Lord Chaitanya said, "No, this is the wrong conception. You should understand that actually Sita Devi, she is the Lord's internal potency. She can never be touched by anyone. No. If you have proper understanding," Srila Prabhupada quoted one Shastra, Ramante Yoginon, what is it? Ramante Yoginon Nante Satyanande Chiratmani, that the yogi, a real yogi, feels great pleasure at understanding the unlimited transcendental pleasure which is manifested by the chit potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iti Rama Padena Sau, that Param Brahma Vidhiyate, and therefore Lord Ramachandra manifested this transcendental spiritual potency when he appeared. So Sita Devi, so Lord Chaitanya was instructing him that this could never happen. This was actually an illusory manifestation. When Sita saw, Lord Chaitanya explained, when Sita saw Ravana coming, she disappeared. And she took shelter of Agni, and Agni manifested a form, an illusory form, just to cheat Ravana. This was Lord Chaitanya's declaration, just to cheat Ravana. Otherwise, which means that any of us who want to perform Ravana Leela, and separate the Lord from his opulence, separate Narayan from Lakshmi, separate Krishna from Radha, then we will be cheated. We'll be cheated. The Lord has so many potencies. And then the Brahmin, after hearing this, and the Lord assured him that this could never happen, he became very blissful and he took prasadam. And then Lord Chaitanya went further in southern India, and he found he heard some Brahmins reciting from Kurma Purana these two verses. I was going to read those two verses, but maybe I can read the very beautiful verses from Kurma Purana. I outlined them here. And here. Sitayaradito vanis chaya sitam aji janat tam jahara dasha gribha sita vani puram gata pariksha samaye bahim chaya sita viveshasa vahni sitam samaniya tad purushtad aninayat. And the translation: when he was petitioned by Mother Sita, the fire god Agni brought forth the illusory form of Sita. And Ravana, who had 10 heads, kidnapped the false Sita. The original Sita then went to the abode of the fire god, and the fire god delivered her to Durga's abode. That's not in this verse. But when the Lord Ramachandra tested the body of Sita, this is in the Ramayana. This is considered to be the Lord is doubting his wife. No, the Lord wanted everyone to see that his wife could never be touched by Ravana, and therefore he was not doubting. He was showing everyone this is an illusory form. The illusory Sita that entered the fire. It was the false illusory Sita that entered the fire. At that time, the fire god brought the original Sita from his abode and delivered her to Lord Ramachandra. So, this is the actual pastime. And so the Brahmin, when he got that, the Lord actually took those verses, those leaves, and had them copied, and he took the originals to Ramadas Vipra, and Ramadas Vipra was so happy. He said, "My Lord, please let me again cook for you." And Lord Chaitanya, not only he spent the night talking about Lord Ramachandra with Ramadas Vipra, and the next day he took prasadam again at his home. So, showing how the Lord, again, prasada sumukha, as this verse says, the Lord is very anxious and very pleased to give his mercy to the devotees of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada emphasizes this particular part, and I conclude with this, because this is such an important aspect. And then in one lecture on Ram Navami, Srila Prabhupada said, even though Krishna is the supreme manifestation of Godhead, still a devotee, according to his rasa, he will prefer, just as I was beginning to explain and I drifted off, that when Anupama was told by Rupa and Sanatan, you must worship Lord Chaitanya, he was in anxiety because he understood that he was supposed to, but he couldn't do it. So he came to Lord Chaitanya, and he said, "My dear Lord, I understand you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are none different from Krishna, but I cannot give up my love for Ramachandra." And Lord Chaitanya embraced him and said, "I am that same Ramachandra." and he was blissful. So, of course, the followers of Lord Chaitanya, generally speaking, they are inclined to worshipping Radha and Krishna, because this is the internal mood of Lord Chaitanya. But some devotees of Lord Ramachandra, Murari Gupta, there were some who saw Lord Chaitanya as their worshipable Lord. And even in his Mahapraharana Leela, he demonstrated to these different devotees. So anyway, our time is almost up. I will stop here and see if there's any comments or questions. Yes, Devi Gnana Prabhu.
Thank you for a wonderful class, Maharaj. You said when Lakshmana heard that Ram is being asked to go to forest, he was very angry and he wanted to kill his father Dasarath. Same kind of statement is also when Nand Baba came from Mathura and he did not brought along with him Krishna, and Jasoda became very angry. She said, "Why don't you die? Why did you come?" So why did you come? Why didn't you die? So here we see the love for the Lord. The relationship with the father or relationship with the husband is material, whereas relationship with the Lord is eternal. So how do you synchronize these two things? I mean, a wife saying, "Better I become a widow, why you didn't die?" Or son saying to his noble father, that he should be killed. So like, how do you synchronize? They are not ordinary people. Lord was their son.
Yes. Because of the intense love for Lord Ramachandra. Even though he was the son, of course, immediately Ramachandra said, "Our father has given us everything." Well, he was explaining from a material point of view that Lakshman, how can you say this? He's our father, he's given us everything. And he was indirectly indicating that, and he was cheated by his wife, but he didn't say that. And even when Lakshman and Dasara, they were condemning Kaikeyi, he said, "No, she is our mother." So, in order to bring out that explanation, that Yoga Maya covered Lakshman. Even sometimes Yoga Maya can cover Lakshman or Balaram. Just like when the calves and the cowherd boys were stolen, Balaram couldn't understand what was happening. Why are the calves who are over 1 year old are drinking milk, and the mothers and the cowherd men are watching, and they're sitting smelling the heads of their sons and not even stopping the calves from drinking. But Balaram, this is very unusual. Oh, something is wrong here, and I can't understand it. Therefore, it only can be Krishna. He's the only person who can bewilder me. So, just Chit Shakti.
I have other question. You're talking about fasting, and fasting is meant for thinking more about the Lord, glorifying Him. But in practical sense, the day when we fast, we think more about Prasad.
Yeah, we're not so expert. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada did not induce us for such fasting. Nor did Prabhupada even give that example. No. Prabhupada did not fast, full fast on Ekadashi. Because Prabhupada, Krishna arranged Prabhupada's life. He was married, he had children, so he could teach us by his example. And he taught us by his example also. That you don't need to do this. Prabhupada did say if you can do it, it's good. You can do that. If you do a full fast on Ekadashi, this is good. He didn't stop us from doing it. But he didn't try to push us to do something that he knew, just like the first pastime, and I'll stop with this because time is running out. The first Janmashtami pastime of the devotees, Mukunda Maharaj puts in his book, Prabhupada just said out of the blue, so today is the appearance day of the Lord. We will be fasting all day, and we will spend 20 minutes, we will chant, chanting japa, 20 minutes kirtan, 20 minutes we will speak about Krishna, all day long. And devotees were like practically ready to drop dead. And Prabhupada could see it, and he said, of course, if someone cannot do so, they can take a little rock candy. Well, immediately they made a plot. No, go get, what is rock candy? I don't know. And finally, Janaki, she bought some lifesavers, some mints that were available. It looks like rock and it's candy. So. And they were passing them around while Prabhupada was speaking, trying to hide it, like, here, take one, no. So yes, Prabhupada could understand where we're at. So anyway, time is up now. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Ramchandra ki jai, Sri Ram Navami ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanandi.